My husband died on Friday afternoon. I am not op. Original post by you, Mrs. Jojak in R. Off my chest. Trigger warning. Death. Less than. Mood spoiler. Sad but hopeful. Less than. And NBSP. My husband died on Friday afternoon, the 17th of June 2019. My husband died a few hours ago. Around 5 p.m. on June 14th, he went into the bathroom, locked the door and then collapsed. I heard him fall. I tried for a few seconds to get the door open but I couldn't. I called 911 and they got here pretty quickly. One of the paramedics kicked the door in but it was too late. We both have had some type of bug and had not been feeling well for the last few days. He had taken some cold medicine, so I'm assuming he had a heart attack. I just don't know for sure. He was only 57. It seems strange that his passing would not be a big deal worldwide. Like, how is CNN talking about politics and not Jeff? The world has lost a truly great man. A very rare man. Can't you all feel it? The whole wide world is darker. Jeff was a good, kind, honorable man. Honest to God. He was the smartest man I've ever met. He was so sweet and tender-hearted. He loved me like no man has ever loved a woman. He was faithful and funny. Oh my goodness, no one could make me laugh like he did. He was the most quick-witted person ever. He was a wonderful father, friend, cat daddy. Even though he said he hated cats and was super mad every time I added one to the family. Only to have him being the head snuggler in a few days. I went through his phone and he had more pictures of our kitties than he did of even our babies. Several years ago, him and his best friend started a company. This left him interacting with the often, chronically, unemployed as well as heads of government. I always marveled he showed absolutely no difference in his interactions. The homeless man applying for work was treated exactly the same as the mayor. No airs. No pretension. The moment he shook your hand, you were counted as a friend. Just honest, simple kindness. He had a comfortable friendliness about him that instantly put people at ease. Her also had an unexplainable air of authority about him. People naturally just fell in line behind him. He was a born leader. People did what he told them to do, usually without question. One story that always comes to mind when I think about his seemingly otherworldly authority that left others comfortable and confident knowing he was in charge and he would handle it. Recently we had a story in our local news about a child who lost a leg in an accident. Jeff donated the money to provide a prosthetic, on the one condition: you can't tell anyone where the money came from. We are far from being wealthy. In fact, as little as 5 years ago we were nearly completely bankrupt after he endured a very long medical illness. Every single cent we had was gone. All of our savings and retirement. During his illness his company took the first opportunity to let him go. He was sick and there we were without a dime or insurance. He got better, then set out to open his own company so that he could make sure this particular job and community need was met. He wanted to provide the service with integrity. He did. By the second year in business he made more money than in the 5 years combined. He was a workhorse. He gave 200% to every single project and worked sometimes 18-19-hour days. He did it cheerfully because he knew he could help people. He was such a blessing to everyone who met him. I'm a mess. I'm so afraid and confused. I don't know how to handle any of this. He handled everything. I had a rough childhood. Early on it was if his mission in life was to make me happy. He spoiled me, not just with things but with himself. In all of these years I can't think of a single moment in time that he did not put me first. I tried to always had to keep tabs on him before I called him because I knew that if he was in a meeting or in the middle of a big presentation, it didn't matter if it was with the governor and mayor or any combination of bigwigs. If my number popped up on his caller ID, he would stop the meeting and take my call. It was so sweet, but it was also embarrassing to know you stopped an important presentation just to ask something as simple, "What would you like for dinner?" I had asked him over and over again to just let my calls go to voicemail if he wasn't alone. Even promising that if there ever was an actual emergency I would text him 911 first, he still answered my call. It always made me feel not just loved but adored. I called his closest friends to let them know. I have literally heard more grown men openly weeping in the last day than I ever have in whole life combined. I'm so afraid of a future without him. He was my everything. My whole life has been playing a supporting role to his ambitions. I don't have any idea how to deal with the finances. What to do about the brand new truck he bought 6 months ago. I don't know what to do about anything, and I'm so afraid I can't live without him. But mostly I am afraid that I don't want to live without him. Updated on the 1st of August 19. The 1st of August 2019. I think I'll use my cake day to update this post. I cannot say thank you enough to the Reddit community. For years and years I lurked on Reddit. I read almost every single day. But I didn't participate much. I had an old account for several years before I started this new one, which was supposed to be a throwaway account to ask a tricky financial question, but I liked the name. As much as I enjoyed Reddit, I did not understand the spirit of the community until this post. I could feel you all when I could not feel much else. It was eye-opening and amazing, and I will forever be grateful to each one of you. I had more than 200 comments and about as many private messages. It feels like those messages literally gave me life in the very beginning. I was careful to only read a few dozen a day, trying hard to make the comfort last as long as I possibly could. I don't have words to say how much comfort I have received from Reddit after this post. I genuinely hope you never understand the depth of my gratitude, because that would require you to understand the depth of my misery. Reddit to me was truly miraculous. And because of you, I was going good. Like really good. Everyone kept saying it was shock, but I knew it was all the love, prayers, support and good thoughts that had come from this post that was keeping me afloat. I am still positive that is the fact of the matter. I was rocking widowhood until around week 5. Then it hit me like a freight train out of control. I completely lost my ever-lovin' mind. I stayed slightly insane and more than slightly drunk until my doctor prescribed me an antidepressant about 10 days ago. I am starting to feel sorta human again. Well, human may be an overstatement, but I don't feel like I'm completely insane anymore. Although subject to change without prior notification. When I finally gave in and went to my doctor, it was because I literally thought that I had developed early onset dementia. For real. I was so worried about it for 2 weeks straight. I just kept thinking, OMG, this can't be happening. Our 3 adult daughters just lost their father, and now they're gonna lose their mother to a memory care ward or an insane asylum. As it turns out, FYI, tuck this away for the future just in case you might need this information. But apparently if you only sleep for 2 to 3 hours a night for several weeks straight, you start to lose your cognitive skills. I had no idea. I genuinely thought I had gone insane. But back to you guys. I'm positive that without this post I could not have gotten through his memorial service. I tried to write the eulogy for 2 weeks. I bet I started 60 times. Then the very night before the service, 6/29, at like 2 a.m. I remember what I had written here. I took the post, reworded a thing or two and added a bit more, and voila, I rocked the eulogy. I made it through the whole service without shedding a single tear. Since it was going to be the first time I've met some of our employees in person, I did not want to embarrass him by having smudged and streak makeup. Not that dead people necessarily get embarrassed, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. I think I would have made him proud. I can't believe I'm still standing, to be honest, but I've actually managed to work 2 whole days in a row, like full days. Although our company has continued to pay my salary, I've honestly been too out of it to do much. Luckily our 2 partners seem to be understanding. I am so looking forward to the day we are not. Every single thing reminds me of him. Tonight a quick trip to Walgreens had me near tears because I saw candy corn on the shelf. It was the only candy he would ever eat, and only around Halloween. Woman facepalming light skin tone. Woman facepalming light skin tone. Anyway, I just want to say thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. You'll never know how truly grateful I am. Also, for those wondering, since I did not know for certain when I first posted, the coroner's report came in a week or so after his passing. Sudden cardiac event, and NBSP. Reminder, I am not the original poster. Man, that's love. Sad face. I hope she's doing alright these days. I have worked with people grieving loved ones for years. I get so damn frustrated with a society that expects grieving people to bounce right back. Your world was shattered. Your loved one gone. Your brain is now in survival mode to process it. Almost every widow I met had a year-long period where they thought they were losing their minds. Sharp women to suddenly couldn't remember appointments, or told the same stories a dozen times, or forgot things they knew for years like the back of their hands. That is grief. And often, they would just one day snap out of it. I am glad Oop is getting the support she needs and the community around her. A death like that is so hard, and no one should grieve alone. Reading this makes me want to be a better man. Goodness, I cried at this one. She writes about him so beautifully. Whenever I read stories about losing a loved one, I am reminded of a post saying a metaphor like the box with a button and a big ball of sadness that would continuously roll and press it. It will always be hard to overcome, but from times to times the ball will shrink. It will eventually hit the button, but not with the intensity when it was that big anymore. And it helps me a lot in terms of coping with grief when it comes to me one day. I'm happy for Oop that they're no longer in the despair state, and wish them the best in life while keeping memories of their dear husband alive. I want Oop to write my obituary when it's time. She is a marvelous with words. Her love for her husband is palpable. I do not even want to imagine such a loss. I truly hope she is living her best life. My father passed away due to a similar cardiac arrest this year. He was going to turn 50. It has changed my world in every way. This post reminded me so much of the good in him. He was just like that. Kind and gentle and grave. He was never silent. He was always one of those people who would stay besides you. I miss him terribly. Rest in peace, old soul. I hope you find comfort in knowing that people remember you for exactly who you were. Heart. About half an hour ago I kissed my boyfriend goodbye before he left for work, and now I'm sitting on the couch sobbing after reading this. God, I hope Oop is doing okay. I really hope Op is doing better. I love my husband and can't imagine losing him. Especially so suddenly. He's my best friend and lifelong companion. God, this was so incredibly sad, but I'm glad Op is doing better. I hope she's still doing well now. She really loved her husband, and he sounded like an upstanding man. RIP. Sending hugs to the Oop. No words, just hugs. It seems strange that his passing would not be a big deal worldwide. Like, how is CNN talking about politics and not Jeff? The world has lost a truly great man. A very rare man. Can't you all feel it? The whole wide world is darker. This right here. I remember wondering why the sun still rose the next day, or why people were going to work the day after my granny died. I've been through other deaths since then, but that one was devastating. I hope OOP's grief has lessened and she's living her life fully. And now I'll think of him whenever I see candy corn. I want this person to write my eulogy. Beautiful writing. I'd read any book of hers. I grieved with her, laughed through the tears. That was just a few minutes. Thank you for beautiful writing. My sympathy to the loss. My hub and I always joke like that, but secretly it would destroy me. I love my husband. One of my favorite quotes is that, "Grief is love without a home." This just proves it. All that love. I hope she found a home for it somewhere. She really loved him. And he. Her. If I'm not loved like this, I don't want it. Red heart loudly crying. I hope she's carried his memory through and is doing okay for herself these days. Grief is a bitch. Good on Oop for keeping fighting the bitch. Gosh, this is so powerfully written. I am utterly terrified of losing my spouse. I have no idea how I would keep on moving after that happened. I am so glad Oop had support. Didn't have to worry about being paid. And went to the doctor. I hope Oop is going well.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.